To a lot of you watching, this will be completely alien to you, something you've never seen before. For the first time in a year, I am playing the newest F1 game. Welcome to the Caterham Career F1 25 edition. I was going back and forth whether I'd do a My Team career or driver career this game. Turns out I completely overlooked that My Team was getting an update and driver career was left to rot, mainly due to the return of the pointless and shit Breaking Point, which no one ever cares about. So I settled on My Team. This series we're not going to be going for the driver championship. If it happens, fantastic. But the ultimate goal for this season, get the constructors with Caterham. Once that happens, the season can come to an end. However, much like my hunt for a win on F1 2015, it's going to take a while. Maybe even never happen. I'm really starting to doubt if I'm ever going to win a race on that game. So first up, I got to decide the settings. For some reason I settled on a full season. All 24 races. I'll be running 105 AI. If it's too difficult or too easy, I will adjust it. This was genuinely my first race on this game. I hadn't done any practice besides a couple laps on time trial to get a setup. This was genuinely my first race. We'll be doing full qualifying and a 50% race. Now that we're back on the modern F1 games, we can go back to strict corner cutting. As always, I won't be using any flashbacks. What happens, happens, even with the inclusion of simulation damage. I will obviously be driving for My Team. I don't know why I had to think about that. And now the important one. We will be including all driver icons for one very important reason, for one very important person we want in our team. Where the fuck is he? He's not on the list. Basically, my plan, I just assumed that, like last game or the game before or whenever it was, I just assumed that Kamui Kobayashi would still be a driver icon. And I didn't know until that moment right there. He wasn't in this game. That was tough. That was tough to take. I was 5 minutes into not even getting out on track. I hadn't even made the car yet. And I was already disappointed. First I've got to decide my professional background. Well, I have a history of just insulting my teammates. Get out of my way. Just get out of the way, or I'm going to push you out of the way. Thank you for not helping at all, you dick. He genuinely might be one of the worst teammates I've ever had. So I don't think I should be a people manager. Caterham famously build shit cars, so I really don't think I should be leading this team as a head engineer. That just doesn't seem right. But Caterham's specialty is very much pay drivers. So I feel like being Chief Financial Officer as a background, that seems like the obvious choice. We then had to decide the starting facility investment. Let's be serious here. It can't be anything more than basic. We're Caterham, for God's sake. Obviously this follows through with car development. We're Caterham. And how much money should we start with? I'm not even going to dignify that with consideration. I then run through the general My Team stuff, picking our name, picking our team colours, making what I could with the team emblem. It was very difficult given how little you got to work with, but I did manage to find something that sort of looks like a C. It's the best I could do. Next up we had to decide our title sponsor, which obviously isn't something Caterham are used to. Our seasonal goals included scoring 10 points, scoring 5 points, and finishing 10th out of 11 teams. There was an obvious choice here. Next up was our engine, and keeping this realistic, I went with the Renault. Looking back, I regret this massively. This could have been a new beginning for Caterham, and yet I wanted to keep it realistic. We've gone with Renault. Then we moved on to drivers, and it was at this point that I realised I couldn't actually drive as myself in My Team. I had to pick two drivers, and obviously one of them wouldn't be Kobayashi because for some reason he is the one speck of content that was removed from this game from F1 24. I'll be honest, I was looking for the obvious pay drivers, and it resulted on me finding the most obvious pick in this lineup. We're going with Joshua Dirksen. If you're unfamiliar with Dirksen, he drives in Formula 2. He's from Paraguay. That should tell you everything you need to know. And picking the second driver was a little more difficult. There wasn't any obvious standouts for pay drivers, until at least I landed on Matthias Zagazzetta. Now if you don't know Matthias Zagazzetta, I don't blame you. He's a Formula 3 driver from Peru. In 2024 he finished F3 in 25th place with 8 points. And in 2025 he currently sits 21st with 6 points. He's also from South America. He has financial backing. I see no better option for that second seat than Matthias Zagazzetta. What a lethal trio this is. My God, are we going to have a great season. It's basic as fuck, but I actually quite like it. It's just a very nice green. My God, I've actually been broken by a Caterham career. I will say now, like the rest of my career modes, this isn't going to be serious. It's a game. I'm not going to take it that seriously unless someone takes me out, in which case they're a fucking... I may do a little update at the start of each race just to see if we've got anything coming in. Overall though, I'm not going to be covering the in-depth workings of my team. All you need to know currently is, obviously, we're last. By a worrying margin. I didn't think it'd be quite that bad. So we've got our team, we've got our car, we've got our drivers. Let's go and start the 2015-25 season. My God, it's actually fucking broken me. It's actually fucking broken me. Going into the opening round, I decide to drive for Zagazzetta on this occasion. He's comfortably the worst driver in this team, which means if I do have a bad race, I can just blame him. That's what's great about this season. No matter how badly I do, I can just blame it on the driver. So here we are in practice for the Australian Grand Prix, our first lap in the new Caterham. It just felt like any old 22 onwards car. There wasn't really a huge moment of, oh my God, this car is terrible, because this was my first lap. I didn't really know how these cars handled. Going into this, I had genuinely done, I think, 3 laps in Australia just to get a setup. I didn't really know how these cars handled. This was me learning about this game. I didn't wait around. I went straight into career mode and thought, this is going to make great content. And what a better way to roleplay as 2 paid drivers that don't deserve to be in Formula 1. By jumping straight into Formula 1 with no practice or preparation whatsoever. I didn't even start my first lap though before I'd noticed a disgusting issue with this game. Who the fuck decided to put the session timer in between the position graphic and the delta time? That was distracting enough for me to pause the game and go and fix it immediately, because it was genuinely upsetting me to look at it. But it turns out you can't move it up or down. You can only move it left to right, and wherever you put it, it looks like shit. So much for customising your heads-up display. You can barely fucking change anything. Actually, no, that's in line with these kind of games, actually. There was nothing really of note to bring up in practice. We finished P13, we got all our practice sessions done. We had a few spins, as to be expected, but really, nothing of note.
And a warm welcome, everybody. We're here in the heart of Melbourne. It's Albert Park, and it's qualifying for the Australian Grand Prix.
You're still on, Crofty. You're still live. Is that a glitch, or is that genuinely it for its commentary? I'll be honest, qualifying was tough. I kept corner cutting, I kept spinning, I just couldn't get a clean lap in. And it took me literally until the final possible attempt to actually get a clean lap in. And still, it wasn't great. We qualified P20, so we're definitely not last, which is fantastic. It did give me confirmation and reassurance that 105 AI it does feel like the right AI for me. I'm not going to blatantly lie and say I'm on the hardest difficulty. I'm absolutely not. But qualifying did go as it... What the fuck are you doing up there? Sorry, getting sidetracked. We qualify in P20 with actually what felt like a decent lap. 3 attempts off of getting into Q2, which, given we're significantly the slowest car, it's not bad at all. Dirksen ends up in last place, which honestly, given my recent teammates, he's really not that far off me. But Q1 did see the exit of George Russell and the apparent dominance that is Kick Sauber, so there's definitely some interesting car performance going on here. I'm not sure EA have quite got it right for the first race of the season. It looks like we'll be going for the one stop, mediums to hards, assuming of course I don't have any spins, which isn't at all likely. Here we go though, my first race on F1 25, 5 lights, and we're away for the 25 season. It's been a phenomenal start. My god, does it feel good to get a good start in F1 games again. We're straight up in P19, almost making contact with George Russell. In fact, I think we do make contact with George Russell through turn number 1. What?
You need to give that place back, I'm afraid. That was an illegal overtake.
Was it? Was it, Mark?
See, now that's some bullshit.
Well, we've moved up 1 position. We should have moved up 2, arguably maybe even 3, but the game decided, nope, you can't overtake George Russell because he's George Russell. He's a goody two-shoes, prick. Sorry, I may be lashing out a bit there. Despite not being all too confident in this game, my pace was relatively fine. I wasn't moving up any positions, but I was staying with George Russell. I was in his DRS. I couldn't really make up any positions because this car is pretty bad, and currently so am I. But I was staying ahead of IJ Hadjar and Lawson, and I'm pretty sure Dirksen is right at the back of the field. Things were going relatively successful until I get on the curb on the exit of turn number 4. And yeah, I have a very unfortunate spin which sees me hit the rear wing on the outside wall. So this is going to be a phenomenally fun rest of this race. From this point, it wasn't great. I just didn't have... I didn't have the confidence in the car anyway, or in this game. But now I had no rear wing. I had even less because I couldn't put the throttle down whatsoever. Carlos Sainz is out of the race. Great. We're not gonna finish last, or at least we won't be last in the standings. It's certainly looking likely we're going to finish last if we finish at all. But yeah, from this point, I had absolutely no hope of getting anything from this race because, as you can see, I just couldn't do anything. I stayed out just for the sake of staying out, really. But the combination of the rear wing being damaged and then obviously my rear tyres just getting cooked, it was bad, right? It was bad. It continued the trend of me having a shocking race in Australia. Despite the fact of me actually liking this iteration of the circuit, once again, it's a shocking race in Australia. There's no other way to put it. I stayed out purely to see if I could drive with rear wing damage, because I don't think it's going to be the last time I get damage like this. It led to my worst spin of the race, where I lose the back end for the final corner and hit this stupidly placed pit wall which someone for some reason has put there. My spin ends up causing a safety car. No, it doesn't. It causes a red flag. We're back in this. Tactical red flag. Let's fucking go. We are absolutely back in this race.
He's done it again! That is a foul! You fucking little bastard!
So here we go, lights out for the second time this race, starting at number 9. Lights out and away we go. For some reason I don't get off the line initially. It's been a bad start compared to the first one. We're on prime tyres though. Alonso's already blown up. Fantastic from Aston Martin. Straight up into P20. We're going to finish at worst P20. We're not going to fall down the grid. We qualified P20. At worst, we're going to stay there. We go for a send up the inside of IJ Hadjar, who almost moves under braking and takes me out. That could have been, honestly, potentially a mercy. We'll see how the rest of this race goes. Dirksen drifts it through turn number 4. We get the cut back on him and go around the outside at turn number 5. Up in the P18, it's been a phenomenal start through the first sector. However, we have fallen away from Bortoleto. I don't know if you can hear the rain outside. Just try and ignore it if you can. I think the rain might be the Alonso fans. That was pretty convenient timing. But anyway, we've fallen away from Bortoleto, and as we've seen, I just don't have the confidence in this car, especially with the rear wing damage. It doesn't last long at all though. I mean, we keep a respectable distance to Bortoleto, I guess, but I guess he is battling Lawson at the same time. But through turn number 4, we hit the curb that had nothing to do with the rear wing. We just lost the car on the curb, break our wing for the second time this race, cause another safety car. Tactical safety car, we're back in this. I took the second pit stop opportunity to just double check my recording was actually recording, and because of that I ended up missing my pit turn in, mainly because I completely forgot about it because I've just been playing F1 2015. I just completely forgot you had to press the button in the pit now. So it's been a shocking pit stop. We're comfortably last, we've still got rear wing damage, but the safety car is out. There's still... I was going to say there's still hope. I don't know a better word, and it's definitely not the right one. We end up just catching on to the back of the grid. Antonelli is somehow P19. I don't know what's going on with the Mercedes in this opening race, but as we set off for the restart, you can see for the final corner, I just had absolutely no grip in the rears and absolutely no confidence that the car would give me any grip. So before we even make it to start lap number 15, we're already quite far behind Antonelli. This race was just about getting to the end. I wasn't making any positions, I wasn't making any ground, I just wanted to make it to the end. It was at this point I was really starting to regret just going straight into recording career mode instead of actually practicing just a little bit on this game. Again, shockingly we were able to stay with the back of the pack, mainly because Dirksen was at the front of it and holding everyone up, but through the first corner we lose the back end and we're no longer going to be staying with the pack, and that's how the rest of my race would pan out. I tried pushing the car, I tried finding the limits with the rear wing damage. I kept overstepping them, and it got to the point where on lap number 17 I was so fixated on correcting oversteer that I accidentally corrected oversteer that didn't exist and ended up putting myself in the wall on the exit of turn number 2, and that marks the end of my opening race on F1 25. That was still more enjoyable than F1 24. But the important thing to remember is, this isn't me driving. You've got to remember, as it clearly says at the bottom of your screen, Matthias Zagazzetta is retired. It's not me. It's purely down to the piece of shit pay driver from Peru. He's clearly not ready for Formula 1. Absolute embarrassment. So Norris ends up winning the first race of the season, followed somehow by Lewis Hamilton, Max Verstappen third, Leclerc, Piastri, Albon, Tsunoda, Gasly, Lawson, Antonelli, Behrman, Doohan, Hulkenberg, Stroll, Hadjar, Bortoleto, Russell having an absolutely shocking race in P17, Esteban Ocon P18, Dirksen comes home last of the finishers, with Zagazzetta, Alonso and Sainz being the DNF drivers. It's been a shocking day for the Spanish speakers, but one small positive I can take from this weekend, I don't know how, but I haven't exceeded my damage allowance. We had 50k to use up, I used up 50k. I have absolutely no idea how I've only used up 50k, considering I had 2 broken wings and I tore off the suspension, and I broke the rear wing, and God knows the financial damage I've done for them from a sponsorship point of view.